I'm a man. It's the sport of kings, better than diamond rings. Football. Wildcats. Football. Wildcats. Football. Wildcats. Football. Wildcats. Football. Wildcats. Football. Wildcats.
Welcome to the Married with Picks podcast, Season 5, Episode 14, Week 14. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Jaclyn.
All right, you ready for Week 14?
Yeah, definitely. We're getting down to the end of the season here, last month of football. Yeah. Can't wait. It's going to be exciting.
All right, so we have another super bye week here. 6 teams on bye. Ravens, Broncos, Texans, Colts, Patriots, Commanders. First game up is Raiders at Bucks. Open at Bucks -1. It is up to Bucks -6.5. So we have Aiden O'Connell starting again for the Raiders. I think last week, maybe he overachieved a little. I don't think he's that good. The Raiders are still missing a few of their cornerbacks. Alexander Madison is questionable. Zamir White is out. Jacoby Myers also questionable. And Aiden O'Connell was on the injury report as did not participate, but he didn't have a status for Sunday. So I assume he's playing. I don't know what the injury is. Bucks have been rolling. They obviously got Mike Evans back. They're going to get Tristan Wirtz back on their offensive line. Bucky Irving is questionable, though, for this game. I'm going to take the Bucks.
I mean, if Bucky Irving's questionable, it's going to be tough because he's been playing well for the last month or so. Tampa's 6-6. They're tied, right? First place in the NFC South. Mm-hmm. So Tampa needs it more. The Raiders on the road, not a good team. I'm not sold on Aiden O'Connell. I think this one stays inside a touchdown or outside of a touchdown. The line is staying outside of it at 6.5 right now. So I think anywhere under 7, I'm all over the Bucks, but I like the Bucks no matter what.
All right. Same side of that one. All right. Next game is the Browns at the Steelers. It opened at Browns -0.5. It's at Steelers -6.5. So this is a division game. These teams did play 2 weeks ago, Thursday Night Football. That was the snow game. Browns did win that game 24-19. That was Pittsburgh's only loss since Russell Wilson took over at quarterback. Last week, we saw the best and the worst of Jameis Winston against the Denver Broncos. He was certainly chucking the ball downfield, but he also threw 3 interceptions and 2 pick sixes. So unless God has delivered him from his pick sixes, I expect a little bit of the same here, and I'm going to take the Steelers.
I love Jameis. Jameis is my new favorite player. He's awesome.
Small doses, he can be amusing, but
I know, but I disliked him so much. Like I liked him at Florida State, just because I didn't really listen to him. I just know that he, brought them back a lot for dramatic wins. He rarely lost at Florida State. Once he started talking, when he got into the NFL, I kind of hated him because he's kind of a doofus. But he owns it, and like I said before, you gotta open yourself up to a guy who's going to be like that and not back down. And who's the judge? I like the guy, but I don't like him this week. I think he's going to be pouting a little bit. You want to think that he's going to come back and like solve this pick six things, but the truth is that Jameis Winston's been throwing interceptions since he's come into the league. Bottom line, Pittsburgh 6-1 last 7 against the spread, 5-1 last 6 games against the spread versus the AFC North. This is a division matchup. I'm going Steelers.
All right, same
minus
side.
6.5.
Same side of that one. Next game is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. This opened at Jags -2. It's at Titans -3.5. So this is a division game as well. These teams have not played yet this season. Over the last 2 seasons, the Jags did win 3 out of the 4 matchups. Jags lost Trevor Lawrence last week, so it will be Mac Jones starting at quarterback. He seemed to do okay last week when he came off the bench. He did keep them within the spread, but his 2 prior starts, they really didn't move the ball much. Those were against Minnesota and Detroit, so probably better defenses. I lean the Patriots, or I'm sorry, where did I get the Patriots from? I lean Titans, but I'm just not.
I mean, I would take Jacksonville, right? They're getting the hook. I know they're on the road.
The hook I don't like, but
Tennessee's 3-9, Jacksonville's 2-10, right? So they're right there. They're back in their usual spots of being the bottom feeders of the division, and whenever they play against each other, it's a tight matchup. It's a coin flip, basically.
Well, wait, what do you mean they're back
points
in their normal position of being the bottom feeders of the division?
Well, they were back there when they were fighting for Mariota. They were both very, very bad.
Well, there was a few years where the Titans were on top of that division.
Yeah, but I'm saying they're back to being on the bottom.
Okay, you made it sound like they never left.
And then they came back.
Okay, all right. You made it sound like they were always there, so I just had to point out
like
that they weren't.
They were there for some time.
And
but they weren't always there.
Okay, good. All right, so who's your pick? Or you got a pick?
Who do you like?
I don't like this game. I don't like either team. Look, if you held a gun to my head, I would take the Titans up to 3. I don't like the hook.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to make the pick for you, right? Mm-hmm. Because you said Patriots because you were thinking Mac Jones. Mac Jones was 20 out of 32 last week. 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah, last week.
So, coming out off the bench for an injured Trevor Lawrence who gave it a go, I think Mac Jones can get it together and, play within that hook, get 3-point loss.
I don't know. They're kind of like similar quarterbacks. Like they both have a tendency to throw interceptions and make bad plays.
Yeah, I'm not singing the praises of Mac Jones, but he did look good last week.
Overall, the Titans are the better defense, the better. I think the problem with the Titans is like you got to forget about last week. And if you look at the couple weeks prior, Levis actually did a fairly good job.
It's hard for me to get behind Levis.
Well, I want to get behind Levis. I tried to get behind Levis last week, and it came back to bite me in the ass. So, I'm
not going to live and die if I see something that changes my mind, like Bo Nix. I thought he was going to be a waste of a pick, and I'm kind of come around on Bo Nix, but Will Levis, I don't think I'll ever get around on. I just put him into Ryan Tannehill, where you're just going to waste a lot of time trying to cheer for the guy.
All right, we've wasted enough time on that game.
That is true. That's not a good game.
All right, so next game is...
you say nothing?
Yeah, I can't.
No pick, and I got Jacksonville. All right.
Panthers at Eagles. It opened at Eagles -7. It is at Eagles -13.5. So since week 9, Carolina has been competitive. They won games against the Saints and the Giants and lost by 3 points the last 2 weeks to the Chiefs and the Bucs. It's a big line. It seems like a lot of people aren't hesitating to take the Eagles at this many points, but to me, it's too many points. And even if the Eagles do outclass them, which I think they do, especially in the trenches on both sides, I worry about a backdoor cover with the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles are like Lions where they're just not going to take their foot off the throttle. I feel like they could come out, start slow, or if they get up to a decent lead, then they're going to take their foot off the gas.
Did you see the guy? I read an article where a gentleman in North Carolina bet $3.1 million to win about $478,000 on the money line for the Eagles. Could you imagine if you lost that one on a 13.5 point line? That's what scares me when people start doing stuff like that. Yeah. But however, I always say
I should do that, but then when you actually look at the math, it's hard to pull the trigger.
Shout out to my boy Timmy, who's a big Eagles fan, and I know he said he listens a lot, so we'll see if he listens this week. Timmy, hope to see you at the Eagles game. I'm going Eagles. Carolina's 1-7 in their last 8 versus the NFC East. Birds are 6-1 in the last 7 against the spread. That last one on Carolina was against the spread, 1-7 in the last 8 versus the NFC East.
What did you say? The Eagles against the spread?
6-1, their last 7.
Okay, I thought you said. I heard 6-7. So Okay, that makes more sense.
6 wins, 1 loss, 7 total games against the spread.
Okay.
Eagles roll.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's too many points for me to take the Eagles, but I'm not really comfortable taking the Panthers either.
The scary thing is we're talking Friday, and the line's probably going to go up to like 14.5, and that's where it's going to get scary. But I think the Eagles, they're starting to talk about Saquon rushing title.
And I had to look this up earlier because I was like, hasn't Derrick Henry ever? He's less than 100 yards behind. And I was surprised that he hasn't had enough yards in any given season. So I looked it up, and I think it was 2021 or 22. He had 2,027 yards was his highest.
All right.
So, but they're at like 1,400. So it's still a ways to go.
Are you saying that they're going to backdoor the Eagles? That the Panthers are going to win?
I didn't say the Panthers are going to win, but I'm not comfortable taking the Eagles at this big of a spread.
Okay, so you have no pick?
I have no pick.
I'm saying birds.
Okay. All right, next game is the Falcons at the Vikings. What?
You look a little tentative there, like...
What?
Nothing.
Okay. Open at Falcons -1. It's at Vikings -5.5. Now, this is my favorite game of the week, and it feels like every week my favorite game of the week goes against me. So take it for what you will.
That's not good.
But Kirk Cousins, and I didn't get to see any games last week because we had a
Kirk Cousins revenge game.
We had a leak. No. But from what I heard, Kirk Cousins looked like shit last week. There's a lot of speculation. I
started him in a fantasy league.
That it's either the Achilles or another injury, but he's not on the injury report. Now, this is a revenge game for Kirk Cousins, but it's also a revenge game for the Vikings. So, and I said it last week when the Bucs were facing the Panthers, that Dave Canales was the OC, kind of responsible for Baker Mayfield's resurgence. So he knows Baker well. And we saw how that played out. That game was a lot closer than many people expected. And the Bucs kind of got lucky to win it because I did actually see that part of the game. The Panthers pretty much had it locked up, and then their running back fumbled the ball in overtime. So the Bucs did win that game. But I think this is a similar situation where Kevin O'Connell knows Kirk Cousins well. So he's going to know what Kirk does well and what Kirk doesn't do well. And even though Kirk was a Viking and he faced the Flores defense all the time in practice, everything that Flores does, Kirk Cousins is bad against. So Minnesota plays a lot of cover 2 and a lot of zone defense. Kirk Cousins is bad against both of those and bad under pressure, which obviously Flores likes to bring a lot of pressure. We saw the Vikings play, or not the Vikings, see now I'm mixing up quarterback. The Falcons play Denver a few weeks ago, similar style defense, and Kirk Cousins didn't fare well there. So I like the Vikings. I like the Vikings a lot, and take it for what you will.
Yeah, I think I'm on the exact opposite side. I like Kirk Cousins in this matchup. I think we're finally, like, Kirk Cousins showed that he can score points, but he's just been inconsistent. And I hate to go down with the ship, but I'm going with Kirk Cousins. This is exactly when you, like, turn your back and the person explodes because you're not taking advantage of it and you got burned the week before. I got burned the week before on Kirk Cousins. I think this is just maybe a look-ahead game last week, and hopefully Kirk Cousins is coming in with a little vengeance because I know he's talking gratitude and saying all the right things coming back into Minnesota, but Kirk Cousins should want to really try to get this win as much as possible, especially have a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder this week based off coming back to Minnesota. So I'm going to take the Falcons.
Okay.
I like them.
You want to bet
plus 5.5? I think so. Do you think there's a chance that, like, if Kirk Cousins is really battling something, like, I think I don't know that this probably reports are overblown. So I don't even really want to go down the Michael Penix Jr. route.
Well, that's what the talk is.
I guess that's my question is there a possibility that he's going to get in this game? And if he does, let's just say halftime. Let's say halftime he's struggling or they hit him hard.
Yeah, but I don't think this is the place where you put Penix out there either against Flores. Like, I don't think that's a good. Well, I just don't. I don't think you want to ruin your rookie, do you?
No, but if Kirk Cousins gets injured,
well, then you don't have a choice. But all right. Next game. Oh, I already flipped the page. Okay, is the Jets at the Dolphins. Open at Dolphins -2. It's at Dolphins -5.5. This is also a division game. These teams have not played yet this year. However, Miami has actually dominated this matchup since 2021 when Tua took over. Jets only have one win. Breece Hall is doubtful, and there are quite a few. I couldn't fit it all in my notes, so I just printed it out separate. Quite a few players on the Jets injury report. So we have one of their tackles is questionable. He's a very funny name, so I'm not going to say it. Sauce Gardner, doubtful. Breece Hall, doubtful. Morgan Moses, tackle, questionable. CJ Mosley, linebacker, out. 3 guards on the injury report. 2 of them don't have a status. John Simpson was DNP at practice, but he doesn't have a status for the game. And Alijah Vera Tucker, I've heard Vera Tucker before, did not participate and is questionable. So a lot of injuries there. I pretty much decided last week that I'm going back to my approach with the Dolphins from last year and earlier this season, is that they can beat up on bad teams. I do put the Jets in that category, so I'm taking the Dolphins.
I'm taking the Dolphins too. They're 4-1 in their last 5 against the spread. They're 11-3 against the spread in their last 14 against the AFC East. So in the division, they've been bringing it.
Yeah, except the Bills. So they dominate the Patriots and the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, Jets are 1-8 their last 9 against the spread.
I believe that.
They're 2-10 in their last 12 against the spread versus Miami. That's the kicker. 2-10, last 12 against the spread versus Miami.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sometime the Jets are going to turn it around, but it's not going to be this week.
I don't think Dolphins. They're going to. Next season, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right on. They're going to beat up on bad teams.
We keep saying that, but. All right. Next game is the Saints at the Giants. This opened at Saints -0.5. It's at Saints -3.5. Now, this is kind of a shit show game, but I actually kind of like it. I don't think, this is my theory, and I haven't heard anybody else say it until I heard somebody else say it today, and I was like, yes. I don't think the Jets are the Jets. The Giants, I'll get my teams right, are trying to win. The whole fact that they went to Tommy Cutlets over Drew Lock, they were forced to start Lock last week, and I would have expected him to fare a little better than he did. But it didn't seem like he could get much going. The Giants have lost Dexter Lawrence on their defensive line. And that was pretty much the only thing they had going for them, was their defensive line. Now, they also have a lot of players on the injury report on the defensive side. So DJ Davidson, defensive tackle, doubtful. 2 of their offensive linemen, Jermaine Elumano, tackle, doubtful. Linebacker, Deontay Johnson, I don't know if that's how you say that first name, questionable. Malik Neighbors, questionable. Evan Neal, tackle, questionable. Another defensive tackle out. Linebacker Bobby Orike out. And Jordan Riley, defensive tackle, questionable. So the Saints, on the other hand, they did lose Taysom Hill last week, which under the circumstances is a big loss. Obviously, they're hurting at wide receiver, but their right guard, Cesar Ruiz, should be back. Left guard, Lucas Patrick, and center, Eric McCoy. If these guys all play this week, it would be the first time they've had their starting offensive line together since week 3 when you guys took out their center, Eric McCoy. So I like the Saints. I like the Saints a lot in this game, which I probably shouldn't, but I do. But I don't think the Giants are trying. I think the Giants want the top draft pick. I think Daboll is going to scheme up a really bad offensive plan. I think that's what he did last week. And I think that's what they're doing. They don't want to spend any money. They didn't want to have to start Drew Lock because they didn't want to spend money. And they want the top draft pick. That's what you call tanking.
You take the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say the Giants are tanking. I don't, think we need to break this game down any more than the Saints struggled for a while.
And honestly, I mean, the Saints are not out of it by any
they're
stretch.
not out of it. That division 6-6 tied. 2 teams tied at 6-6 for the lead. They're not that far out of it. How many wins they got? They got 4 wins. Mm-hmm. So one of those, who knows? They might not both lose, but if they both lose and the Saints win this week against the Giants, who are trying to tank, so they easily could win this game, they'll be 1 game out.
Yeah.
And the Saints have basically went on that long, hard losing streak. They lost last week against the Rams, but they lost by 7 points.
They were in it though.
They were in the game. Giants are tanking. That's all you need to say.
Yep.
Take the Saints.
All right. Next game is the Seahawks.
It's 3.5 too. They're trying to get you to take that hook. They're trying to lure the Giants fans into taking that.
Okay. Well, they can lure them all they want. Seahawks at Cardinals. Open at Cardinals -1. It's at Cardinals -2.5. So this is also a division game. These teams played 2 weeks ago. Seahawks won that game 16-6. There was a defensive touchdown by the Seahawks. So, I mean, it's not that the Seahawks had a whole lot of offense either. But historically, the Seahawks have dominated this matchup. The Cardinals have lost the last 6. Now, the Seahawks... Kenneth Walker is questionable and DK Metcalf also questionable. They will have Leonard Williams back. He cleared concussion protocol. And their pass rusher, Uchenna Nwosu, who has really missed, I believe, like 7 games, is activated from IR. So having him back will help on their
Can you say that name again?
defense. No. So... I think the last time these teams played, I took the Cardinals. I knew it was not the right pick. So I'm going to stick with the Seahawks in this one. I don't care so much about DK Metcalf. Kenneth Walker, if he doesn't play, worries me a little bit. But I'm taking the Seahawks. What you got?
So I've been on Seattle for the last couple of weeks, and they won 3 in a row. But I just don't see them winning 4 in a row going into the Cardinals. They beat them 16-6.
Now this has got to be for the division, right? The division lead. Who's in? I guess the Seahawks are in the lead now, right?
Well,
because Cardinals lost and Seahawks won.
Seattle's in the
Seahawks
lead at 7-5. Yeah, and then the Cardinals and the Rams are tied at 6-6. So if the Seahawks win,
this is their chance to pull ahead of everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to happen. I like Arizona here. I'll take 2.5. As long as it stays under 3, I think I like it a lot. At 3, you might get mushed on a push because it's going to be a tight game, but I like the Cardinals. Did the Cardinals win this one? They just played 2 weeks ago, right? Mm-hmm. And it was 16-6 battle, and the Cardinals, they didn't play that well in that game. They should have won the game, only giving up 16 points, but, now they got them at home. I'll look for the Cardinals to take the Seahawks. Seahawks 3 in a row. Seahawks are not good enough to win 4 games in a row.
Maybe they are.
The division. Well, we'll see. Who do you like? Seattle?
Yeah.
You want this one too? That's 2.
Sure.
What was the other one?
Vikings.
Okay.
All right. Next game is the Bears at the 49ers. This opened at 49ers -5.5. It's down to 49ers -3.5. So obviously the Bears did what they had to do. Obviously firing Matt Eberflus after the Thanksgiving Day debacle. I am always a big fan of, what's like the right terminology? It's like the something coach bounce or whatever. I don't know. No.
Was something coach bounce?
Yeah, like what's the word that they call? Like when the team plays good after the coach gets fired. There's like a term for it.
I don't know.
But so anyway, the fired coach bounce is what I'm going to call it because I don't know what else to call it. Now, unfortunately, the Bears do have DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift questionable. It sounds like Swift will play, but Roschon Johnson, who's the second running back there, is out. So that could be a problem. And their center, Ryan Bates, is also out. But on the other side, the 49ers have been decimated with injuries. Purdy, I don't think, is 100%. There were some reports reports from the beat writers about the throws they saw him make in practice, just not looking right. Nick Bosa is doubtful. Linebacker Drew Greenlaw is out. Safety, I don't know how you say his first name, but Hufanga is questionable. And offensive lineman Trent Williams is out. So I am going to take the points with the Bears here. They've obviously played better since they fired the OC. And now, I mean, I don't think there's any denying that these guys were not big fans of Matt Eberflus. So they get him out of there. Thomas Brown was doing pretty well as the OC. So I think this is the spot.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the other side. I mean, the 49ers are playing at home, and I think this is just a situation of the better program is going to win, even if Brock Purdy's struggling a little bit.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, obviously, CMC out and Jordan Mason out.
Yeah, CMC and Jordan Mason are out, and by default, Isaac Guerendo is going to be the lead back. So, you know, he's looked promising. He's a rookie. He looked promising when he got a chance a couple of weeks ago, but these guys both came back and now are out. So he gets another chance. I think it's enough. Brock Purdy's going to want to try to bounce back from the humiliating loss against Buffalo last week. I'll take the Niners.
Okay.
Minus 3.5.
Okay. All right. Next game is the Bills at the Rams. This opened at Bills -1. It's at Bills -3.5. Now, I have not been impressed with the Rams all season. I think they are definitely outclassed here by the Bills. The only thing that has me worried a little bit here is that the Bills, I guess, clinched a playoff berth last week in the snow game against the Niners in Buffalo. And next week they play the Lions. So is this a letdown spot for them up against the Rams? Now, apparently Matt Stafford sprained his ankle in the game last week, but he was a full participant at practice. So I don't know how that works. I guess people play with a sprained ankle. They do have some questionable players on the offensive line. That's probably not good for him and his ankle. I'm going to stick with the Bills here, though.
No, I'm definitely going with the Bills. It's another situation where there's the better program. I don't see how the Bills can really lose this game to the Rams. Stafford has not looked good.
I mean, they can.
They can, theoretically. But
I guess I might be a little worried about the Rams' run game because the Bills can get got on the ground.
Yeah, but they also have a great running game. Led by their quarterback, really, and then Cook's in the backfield. So I like the Bills. I just think they're too strong. And I'm not crazy excited about the hook, but I don't think it's going to matter.
Okay.
The Bills have shown that
So we're on the same side of most of these games.
Yeah, well, you're taking the Rams here, right?
No. Do not listen to anything I say.
Why did I have Rams written down? You did say Bills.
I think
when you were talking, you were, I'm taking track this time.
Huh?
Well, I'm keeping track.
Oh, I never saw you do that before. What's
I started doing it a little bit.
okay.
J is for Jaclyn.
I know. Well, I saw the S. I was thinking it was my initials, but that goes back a while. JS. Oh, okay. So I didn't know what the S was.
All about you.
All right. And then
I allowed to have my initial on here.
The Sunday night game. Well, I don't know why you have to write yours out because you already have yours circled, but
it's easy to get on the thing when I'm looking at it later.
Okay, good. A Sunday night game is
criticizing my notes.
The Chargers. See, I don't need notes. I got it all up here.
Yeah.
Chargers at the Chiefs. Chiefs open at -6.5. Chiefs -3.5 is the current line. This is a division game as well. These teams played back in week 4. Chiefs won that game 17-10. Chiefs have won the last 6 of this matchup with the Chargers. Chiefs, obviously, I mean, I don't know about the Chiefs. I mean, they really haven't dominated. Obviously, they should have. This is the second game that they should have lost. I still don't really know what happened at the end of that Raiders game last week, but I'm pretty sure they got screwed. So 3 and a hook. I think you got to, obviously the Chargers are going to be without Dobbins. Gus Edwards didn't do much last week. Now, Ladd McConkey was injured in the game last week. He was a limited participant at practice today. So I think that's one thing to watch, because otherwise I don't know who Justin Herbert's throwing the ball to. I always want to take the points with the Chargers. I feel like I've done it before and they've disappointed, but I'm going to stick with it.
Chargers?
Yeah. 3-point game. That's what the Chiefs have been playing, right?
This feels a lot to me like the same feeling when I look at this game, this matchup that I had when Detroit played Green Bay. Like, I kind of thought Green Bay had a good chance to win the game straight up. But, 3 and a hook, having that hook, it just felt like, wow, this is definitely like
right,
a lock.
And the hook's the difference.
Yeah, so... But I feel like the Chargers can win this game. It's really like my buck to trend this is my buck to trend game. The Chargers are 0-6 straight up the last 6 versus the Chiefs. They haven't won the game. I think they're going to win this game. But I'm not even trying to tell you whether they're going to win or not. I mean, I'm going to put a little on the money line. But what is locked is 3.5. I mean, I'll take 3.5 all day. I think it's a lock of this other week.
Okay. Same side of that one. Did you write that down?
I did not. I flipped the page and I didn't have our initials down.
All right. And then the final game of the week is the Monday night game, Bengals at Cowboys. And I guess this is the game they couldn't flex, or was it that game? I guess we'll find out. Anyway, Bengals at Cowboys, open at Bengals -0.5.
The Chargers and Chiefs would be the Sunday night game, right?
Yeah, it's a Sunday night game.
And the Simpsons
But they
are on
can't
Sunday.
flex the Monday to a Sunday, right?
I don't know. What are you talking about? The Simpsons? There's supposed to be a Simpsons special one that's gonna
But
have probably Mahomes because they want Mahomes is the golden boy.
But why would they want to take that game out of prime time? They would want to take this one out of prime time.
They would want to take that one out.
But can they do that from
Sunday? You're right. Yeah, Cowboys.
Yeah, can they do that though?
Change
the date?
I don't know enough about it because I thought the Simpsons were always on Sunday.
Well, but what I'm saying is, can you change the day the team's playing? I know you could change the time. I didn't know you could change the day.
I don't know that they have a flex schedule for Monday night.
Yeah,
because
that's what I'm saying.
It's different day.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, Bengals at Cowboys. Cowboys obviously have won 2 games with, what's his name, Cooper Rush at quarterback, Commanders and Giants. Bengals have lost their last 3. Tough games against the Ravens, Chargers, Steelers. Interestingly, when the Bengals have won, they've won by quite a few points. So their win over Cleveland was by 7, but all their other wins were by 10 points or more. I think the Bengals are due. Cowboys are probably due a loss. They're kind of overachieving at this point. So I'm going to take the Bengals.
I'm taking the Bengals too.
Wow, what a shocker.
I mean, we're on the same side on almost all of these games.
We're either going to be super hot or...
Well, I don't want to...
wrong side of the number.
because the last time this happened,
But I actually, last week, I hated the schedule. And sometimes I look at the schedule in the beginning and I hate it, but then, things come into focus. Last week never came into focus. I do like this week. I like it a lot.
I do too.
So we'll see. All right, that will do it for us for week 14. If you're watching, remember to like and subscribe. And we'll see you back here week 15. Peace out.
All right, good luck, everybody.
Wildcats football.